Hi everyone, my name is Audrey and welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing you my October TBR. Yes, I know. I always do my TBRs with so many books on them, so many goals I want to do, and I never end up actually achieving them. But this month is no different. I have so many books on this TBR. I think it's my biggest one so far this year. I'm definitely not going to read them all, but I like to have many choices as I go. So yeah, I do not plan on participating in any readathon except for the Buzzwordathon because I have a lot of things that are going on in my life right now, and I do want to concentrate on the books that I do want to read this month. I needed to take a break from readathons. I do know that there's a lot going on right now in the month of October, but I just really needed a break for now. So I'm going to go through 3 categories of books I want to read. The first one is the books that I am currently actively still reading. So my first ongoing read is 6 Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. So I started this book in September and I am going to finish it in October. This is a retelling of The Wild Swans by Hans Christoph Andersen. So we have our female protagonist who is the daughter of the emperor of this world, and she is cursed by her stepmother, which is an evil queen, and she cannot speak or tell by writing or whatever form what's going on and what is her curse. Everyone believes that she is lost with her 6 brothers as well, and her 6 brothers are turned into cranes. I am really loving this book so far. When I ended the month of September, I was halfway through and I really loved reading it so far, so I can't wait to actually finish it and see where it's going. I think I've read that there's going to be a sequel to this book, which I'm kind of disappointed because I was hoping it was only going to be a standalone, but we'll see how it goes and how the ending goes, but I can't wait to finish this one. My next ongoing read is The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. So this is a historical fantasy set in New York in the early 1900s, and we have our main character who has magical abilities, and people with magical abilities are trapped in the New York City, and if they try to leave, they are going to lose their powers and most likely die, and if they use their power in New York, they're going to be chased by the same organization that trapped the city. And our main character actually travels through time, and she needs to go back in the 1900s to steal magical artifacts and change the future. This is the first book of a series. I think there's 4 books so far, or there's going to be a 4th one. I'm not sure, I don't remember, but I was really enjoying this book. I first started it for the Buzzword in, I believe it's August or July. I don't remember which one, but it was for a Buzzword and I was really enjoying it. But it just happened I had some other books that I really needed to read after that month's Buzzword and stuff like that. So this month is the month where I'm finally going to finish it. I'm about 35% through, I believe. My next ongoing read is The Fellowship of the Ring, which is the first book of the Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. So this is the first book of the trilogy, and I am really enjoying this book. It's my first time reading it. I don't think I need to give you any synopsis about this book. I enjoyed the movies very, very much. I've watched them so many times, I can't count it anymore, and I'm really enjoying the book. The only thing that's bothering me in this book is the actual writing that is too dense and small, font-wise. But other than that, it's a really fun time, and I hope I can get to most of it by the end of the month. The next one is not an actual ongoing read because I didn't start it yet, but I was supposed to start it in September, and it is Our Dark Duet. I did finish the first book, which is this Savage Song. And I was trying to read the second book for the Buzzword for September, but I didn't get to it, unfortunately. So I'm going to try to get to it as quickly as possible so that I don't need to keep adding it to my other TBRs until the end of the year. The first book was a pretty fast read. It's a YA fantasy dystopian type of book. I wasn't a big fan of the first book. I'm not sure I'm going to really love this one, but it's a very fast read, even if it's 500 pages. I just really need to get a closure from this book, so I really need to finish reading it. And my final current read is the Game of Thrones, the first book of the series. I gave myself a goal to read 450 pages every month. Obviously, I just read around 255, I believe, last month. So I'm 200 pages behind. So hopefully this month I can catch up and read 650 so I can meet my goal of 900 pages of this book. Again, I don't think I need to give you any synopsis of this book. I have watched this series again many times, and I really love this book. It's on my reader, and it has, yes, it has a lot of pages, but I really enjoy the writing. It's a very easy writing, and it reads really fast, and it doesn't demand a lot from my brain to actually comprehend everything that's going on, which is really different from the Lord of the Rings books. I really enjoy the Lord of the Rings books, but they are quite harder to get through and to comprehend the whole world, because Tolkien do have one of the biggest world building, and there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of explanations and who is who and what did what, when, where. There's a lot of stuff in that world, and it's not a language that's very casual, so it's not always easy to read, and you just can't go through it too quickly, at least for me. I really enjoy it though. But for the Game of Thrones, I don't know if it's because I've already watched the show many times, but I do remember when I was watching this show, I was really confused as to who was related to whom and trying to tie all of the politics together. And at some point, I just caught up and it was easier for me to follow. And now that I pretty much know all of the story and the families in this world, I don't know if that makes it easier to read, but it reads really fast, and I really enjoy it, and hopefully I can meet my goal this month. So the next two books I'm going to talk about are books that I wanted to read for Halloween, because yes, we're in October, it's Halloween. I did not want to participate in any Halloween readathons because obviously I had too much going on, but there are two books I really want to read. The first one is Lair of Dreams by Eliba Bray. This is the second book of the Diviners series. I read the Diviners, I believe, last year. I really loved this book. I think Eliba Bray's writing is amazing, and it was actually one of the few times I was actually really scared while reading the book, at least the first one. So I'm really excited to pick this one up. This one is set in New York City in the 1920s, and some people who are called the Diviners do have some magical abilities. And in the first one, they were trying to solve a serial murderer who was paranormal. I have no idea what the second book is about, but I don't want to look it up. I just want to go into it without knowing too much and trust the author's writing. And the second book I want to read for the spooky vibes is Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. When I saw that this book existed, I knew I needed to have it. We have a lot of IKEA furniture, and I thought the premise of this was really interesting, and I love when books have a different formats or stands out and is out of the ordinary. So this follows an employee who works in a IKEA type of store, and there are some weird things that are going on in the store, and some employees decide to actually stay through the night and find out what's actually happening for real. I believe this is mixed media as well, which I really, really love, and I cannot wait to get to it. And finally, the last section of this video is going to be about books that fit the Buzzwordathon for this month, which is elements. And I'm saying books that fit with this prompt because obviously I won't be reading all of them. I just want to have many options, and I do own a lot of books that fit this prompt. So I just put them all on my TBR, and we'll see how the month goes and which one I decide to pick up. So the first book for this prompt is Crown of Thunder by Tochi Onyebuchi. So this is the second book of the duology, which is called Beasts of Night. And I really enjoyed this one. And this is the first book I ever read for a buzzword, ever. And I really enjoyed it. It's a dystopian type of world where the poor actually gets to eat other people's sins so that other people who are richer can actually live on sinless. Each time someone eats a sin, they get a tattoo on their body, and they can eventually die, and this follow one of those person, which I do not remember the name. And there's all this political plot that's going on at the same time. It's been a while since I've read the first one, but I'm still really excited to finally get to the second book. The next two books I have are Wicked Like a Wildfire and Fierce Like a Firestorm by Lana Popovich. So this is a YA fantasy. I got those books for a very cheap price, secondhand, something like that, and I never got to it. It's been a while since I've owned them, and somehow I just didn't get to it yet. I believe it's a magical fantasy setting with women. I think there's sisters or something like that, but I'm not quite sure exactly, but I do not want to know much going into it, so I just hope that I'll enjoy it. I don't hear a lot of people talking about those books. I do remember I saw them on BookTube somewhere because that's the only reason why they were on my Goodreads, but I don't hear much about them. And when I do, it's mostly for unhomes, so I don't know. I don't have much expectations, but we'll see how it goes. The next book that fit this prompt is Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman, which is the second book of the Scythe trilogy. And obviously, as you've guessed, I have not read Scythe yet, so I'm going to be needing to read this one first if I want to get to Thunderhead. So this is another YA dystopian type of book, and it's set in a world where humans have defeated sickness and diseases and people don't die anymore. And because of overpopulation, they do need to keep the population down. Nothing's killing them anymore. So for that, they have these scythe, which are people who are trained to decide who gets to stay and who gets to die. I've heard great things about the first two books, not so great things about the third one, but I'm still really curious to get into it. And I really love dystopian series for some reason, so quite happy to put that on my TBR. The next one I have is a book I got from a fairy loot box, which is Fire by Fire by Destiny Soria. So if I remember correctly, this follows two sisters, and usually in this world they fight against dragons, and somehow one of the sisters makes a bond with a dragon, and that brings a lot of conflicts, and that's about all I know about it, and that's all I want to know about it. This edition is gorgeous. I don't think I've read many books about dragons, so I'm really happy to get to it. The next one I have actually already started to this day because we're already the 6th of October. I'm filming this late. But the next one is With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. I'm not very far into it yet. I'm only about 10% through, but it follows a young teenage mom who lives with her abuela. She is trying to finish high school while raising her young daughter, and there's all this cultural aspect in the book as well, which I'm really enjoying so far. I was not a teen mom, but I am a mom, so I am enjoying that part as well, and I can't wait to see where this book goes. The next one that I have for this prompt is Stormland by John Shirley. So if you have seen my previous videos, you will probably recognize this title because it was one of my arcs from NetGalley that I did not get to read because of some format downloading issues that I didn't get to resolve, and I ended up not being able to read it by the time the book was archived. But I still decided to purchase it and give my feedback afterwards. So I'm putting this in here because it does fit the prompt, and I really want to get to the book finally someday. This is an adult dystopian book where this city is in the eye of a storm 24/7, and people do not go there anymore. There are some refugees that are there, but it's pretty much everyone for themselves. And we have some characters that decide to go there to attract a serial killer. And the Stormland is not under any law of any police or government, and nobody, it's just abandoned there, and there's no one that rules the place, if that makes sense. I wasn't very far into it when I stopped, but I will be starting it over if I decide to pick this one up. And finally, the last book on my list is Lakewood by Megan Giddings. I don't remember the plot of this book. I think it has a cult type of situation, but I've heard amazing things about this book. I do know that it's one of Jessie from Bowties and Books, one of their favorite books, so I'm really excited to get to it. So that's all the books I have this month on my TBR. Obviously, I will not get to all of them, but I do want to have a lot of options when it comes to the buzzword elements. I just couldn't choose which one I was going to put in there, so I just took every book I own that fit that prompt and I just put it on my TBR. We'll see how it goes. I am giving myself another goal of reading 6 books. I believe that reading 6 books is a more achievable goal than to read 8 books. Hopefully I can read more this month. And one thing that is also helping me is that I am already through a lot of books at the same time, and I'm not starting all of them from scratch. So that will definitely help me out this month. We'll see how we do. You can place your bets in the comments if you want to. If you'd like to comment on those titles, if there's any books in there that you have already read, please let me know in the comments how you've liked them. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you want to be notified every time I upload a new video. And I will see you soon in another one. Bye!